Hey everyone, it's Dr. Fletcher, and today's video, this is based on a true story. And like a lot of my videos, I wasn't sure what to call it, and so I thought the title would be "What's a reference test?" And I think in just a few minutes you'll see why I decided to call it that. And specifically, this video is referring to the medical staff. How do they know what a reference test is versus not a reference test? Why am I talking about this? Back in my early days of laboratory stewardship, I remember I was reviewing my invoice from one of our reference laboratories. And as I was looking through the invoice, I became aware that a lot of the ordering physicians were actually from the emergency room. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, why are the emergency room physicians ordering so many reference tests? And so I started crunching the numbers, and it looks like about 10% of our reference tests were actually being ordered by the emergency room. So I was infuriated. I was incensed. So I literally left my office, and of course, in the laboratory, we're in the basement. We happen to be underneath the emergency room. So I went marching up the stairs to the emergency room, and I went busting into the office of the medical director of the emergency room, and I went up to his desk. I was like, "Why are you ordering all my reference tests?" And he looked at me and he said, "What's a reference test?" Hence the name of this video. And any case, I was like, "Wow, I didn't know how to respond to that." I was like, and I thought, well, I better leave his office and go back down the stairs to my office. So, in any case, I went back to my office, and it was actually a really good question. I mean, I was the medical director, um, but I'm not sure I could give a real concise answer. I mean, we had hundreds of tests on our menu, and it was hard for me to know exactly which one was a reference test versus an in house test. And then I started feeling bad for the medical staff. I mean, how are they supposed to know? They're just ordering tests. And so I thought, we need to make it easier for the medical staff to know what is a reference test, because a lot of times I don't think they want to order the reference test. They're busy, and they're just trying to order the test that their patient needs. And sure, they'd prefer to use an in-house test if they knew what was in-house versus reference. And so I got to thinking, I was like, let's make it easy for them. Let's give them a way to know the difference. And let's not do pop-ups. I mean, yeah, Epic and Cerner, Meditech, they can all embed more information into a test name, but you have to click on it. It's a pop-up. And let's face it, I mean, I do feel bad for our clinical colleagues. They've got enough buttons to click already. How can we make this foolproof? And so I'll show you what we actually did in my healthcare system. I've got one slide to show, and I've shown this slide many, many times in national conferences. What we decided to do was actually embed some more information into the test name. This is a real screenshot. This happened to be from Sorian. It later became Cerner. But you can see that what we decided to do is let's pick Renin. There's an example there. Renin was a send out test. And so for Renin, we changed the name to Renin, parentheses, ref for reference, comma, dollar, dollar. We picked dollar signs to show cost, and we used it kind of like one of those restaurant guides. Is it a $1 menu or a $5 menu? The dollar signs correlated to the overall cost. And then we showed comma 2D, the turnaround time. And that was embedded into the test name, no pop-ups. It was right there for the physician to see, oh, gee, Renin, oh, it's a reference test. $2 signs, it's kind of expensive, but not too bad. 2 days, well, heck, I'm about to discharge the patient, or maybe the patient's in the emergency room. I don't need that test. Um, it turned out in the end, the physicians really liked this because it was information at their fingertips. Now, I think a lot of times knowing it's a reference test, now Brandon's not a good example, but if you look at some testing, let's pick a real one like a gonorrhea or chlamydia test. They might not know that the culture is a send out test, and yet the PCR is done in your laboratory. So all of a sudden, they might be looking at tests going, no, I really just wanted the one that was done here. This isn't the one I wanted. The dollar sign thing, I don't know if the expense really made a difference to the clinicians, but I think they'd like to know it. Now, we went back and forth on this. We thought about actually showing true cost, but what is the true cost? You use the hospital costing tool. And then what if costs change? How are we going to maintain that? And so there's no right or wrong answer. I've seen some places use Medicare allowables. We decided to go with the $1, $2, $3 sign schema. And we happened to pick, I think it was $50 increments from the hospital costing tool, just to give the physician a sense of the cost. But really, I think what the physicians really appreciated most was the turnaround time. Now, gee, do I really want to deal with this test when the patient's sent home? But it also gave physicians a chance, gee, I do need this test. It's going to be a 5-day turnaround time. I better put that in my discharge summary. I'll post another video talking about test pending a discharge and how this plays a big role. Any case, what's a reference test? How is your medical staff supposed to know? Give them the information in the EMR. It's really useful information that can impact their test ordering selection, and it might be a big win for laboratory stewardship. Good luck with all of your laboratory stewardship initiatives. Let me know if this works for you or what you've done in the EMR to let physicians know what is a reference test. I appreciate your time, and good luck with all of your laboratory stewardship initiatives.